I really want to try out this idea. So this is an experiment, and it's an experiment of discovery, which I hope will shed some light on the nervous system, and in particular, the different states in polyvagal theory of the nervous system. And what I want to do with this is, it can get very heady and very complicated if you read anything about this stuff. And it can be a little bit harder to apply to one's own felt sense. We can understand it intellectually, maybe, or maybe it seems a bit just too complex. So hopefully this is an easy way. And what I'd love is, if you try it out, I would love you to leave a comment, whether you like it, don't like it. I mean, if you can leave why, that would be even better. Why you like it, why you don't. It will take 5 minutes, probably a little bit more. Very easy. It's going to be 6 questions. You may get a piece of paper if you want to, it's going to be a one-word answer for each one. And what I'll do afterwards, after you've done that, been through those questions, is I'll just relate it back to this nervous system stuff. If you're familiar, you may already see the patterning. And I'll also say why I think it's so useful. And of course, we'll find out whether that's the case for you. It's useful for me. Will it be for you? We'll see. Okay, so question number 1, and remember this is no wrong answer at all. This is just whatever comes for you. You can change it at any point. You're not wedded to the idea. Question number 1, what kind of animal do you think of as being really social? Being in groups, or maybe just with one other animal, just getting on well, or maybe just really comfortable in itself. Strange thought, really, an animal being comfortable in itself. But the idea is that there's this sense of comfort with oneself, and it's normally a social kind of comfort as well. That's question number 1. What animal has this sense of being a social being and in a good way? Question 2, what animal is in a good state? I'm not talking about a frenzied state, but in a good state, very active, doing lots of things, busy doing this, busy doing that, moving, all this sort of thing. So that's number 2. What animal is very busy, but in a good way? Number 3, what animal is kind of very still? I'm kind of showing it with my body a little bit, this kind of cozied up. What kind of animal would represent that for you? And again, remember, there's no right answer. There's just something which may come to mind for you. It's a discovery process, right? So question 3, what animal? That cozy, sort of still, sort of at rest feeling. Question number 4, changing it up a little bit. What animal do you associate with fighting? Question number 4, what animal do you associate with fighting? Scary, I know. Question number 5, what animal do you associate with fleeing? With running away? Question number 5, what animal do you associate with running away, getting out of here as fast as possible? And question number 6, what animal do you associate with being petrified with fear? What animal do you associate being petrified with fear? Okay, so 6 questions. First one is sociable animal, in a good kind of sociable state. Number 2, very energized animal, doing things, but in a good state. 3, very cozied up, still animal in a good state. Number 4, fighting. Number 5, running away, fleeing. And number 6, petrified, terrified. Okay, so if you're familiar with polyvagal theory, you may recognize these states. The first 3 are associated with the 3 states of polyvagal theory, which have these somewhat complicated names, which is part of the reason I'm trying this out. The first one is the social engaged state, social engagement, which relates to the ventral part of the vagus nerve. Don't have to worry about that, but if you know it, then you know what I'm talking about. The second one is the sympathetic state. Again, very healthy. We need this energy. It's the mobilizing energy of the body. Gets us doing things, gives us energy. That's the sympathetic state. And then we have this third state, which is this kind of sort of, and remember, I'm only doing part of what these things do, okay? I'm not going into depth. So if you're thinking this isn't complete, it's not. I just want to give a sense that can be experienced and felt level by us, so it can be used very easily. So this third state, that kind of animal, that's a healthy, regulated way that the dorsal vagal part of the vagus nerve, the back part, supports us in health. It does lots of other things as well, but we're just using this as a quick way in. So those three are the three states of the nervous system, whatever animal that you've got. So for me, I had a dog in the first place. I was kind of caught between a dog and a gerbil, you know, a little hamster type creature. The second one for me was like a ferret, because that's kind of like so quick, the way they move and so busy. The third one was more like a koala. And so you can see they have very different energies. So then that is the healthy side of it. Now, when I say healthy, the obvious idea is that it's not healthy on the other side, but it's not quite true. What's actually happening on the other side is that our bodies have experienced a threat. And those three second questions are ways that we react in the face of a threat. So we either fight, we run, or we go immobile. Yeah, these are physiological responses. So it wasn't quite accurate to say the first three were healthy, because the second three are healthy if they're happening in the right way, at the right time, and they actually subside, you know, reasonably. We're not meant to stay in fight, flight, or freeze for any period of time beyond which it's necessary. So they are good, but for many of us, they get dysregulated. They get too much for too long, and they don't switch off. So why is this useful? Well, the thing is, if you've managed to pick animals, and I realize I haven't actually shared the animals that I have. So the freeze one for me is the possum. I've seen pictures of possums, totally immobile. The fleeing one is a gazelle for me, because again, I've seen, they're off so fast. And the fighter for me is a tiger, terrifying, and they kind of. So the reason for using these animals is that we can actually allow our imagination to let us get to know that state and be familiar with that state in a way which is very much less heady. So not trying to sort of work out what, you know, autonomic responses we're having, and, you know, how do I tell? It's like, do I feel like a dog in this moment? Do I feel like a koala? Am I feeling like I'm a tiger? Is that the kind of energy that I'm just kind of, you know, a tiger is in that fight mode? And if we want to bring on more, or bring a sort of a sense to maybe, okay, so I can actually really go into resting now. So I can actually let my body, perhaps, or my imagination, allow myself to take the shape of these things, then it can start to have an impact on our nervous system. So the first way we can use it is that it actually starts to give us a very quick way of knowing which part of our nervous system we're in. Am I feeling like a tiger? Am I feeling a bit flighty like a gazelle? Or we can use it to actually perhaps bring ourselves back a little bit when we're out of those states. So there you have it. I don't know if this is useful for anybody else. It's certainly been very useful for me in reflecting on it. If you have a go, let me know. I'd love to hear from you.